Hello everyone, today I'm going to be discussing the topic of the exploitation of our immigrant farm workers here in California. To start off, I'm going to be sharing a story of a migrant farm worker by the name of Angelita Hernandez. Throughout the interview, Angelita describes her employer as dangerous because he demands them to work while injured. She experienced this firsthand when she began leaking amniotic fluid during her second trimester of pregnancy. Her doctor prescribed bed rest to prevent further complications. However, her request for a leave of absence was answered with a warning that she and her husband would both lose their positions if she proceeded to take time off. So she continued to work until she got an emergency call from her doctor urging her to go to the hospital. So I went to the hospital where they induced my labor. Don't you know that even while I was in labor, the boss was calling for me to return to work? Even after I had the baby, a couple hours later, he wanted me to start working again as soon as I got out of the hospital. But my baby was born blind because of the low fluid I needed to tend to him. I was out there pregnant, which I shouldn't have been, so I told him I couldn't. I went out there for 3 weeks and I wasn't supposed to work. I was on medical observation and in pain, but if I told him, he would have fired me. Now that is just one of the many stories of what farm workers have to go through here in the United States, specifically California, on a daily basis. So now that you've heard this story, let's move on to some facts. Agriculture workers have the highest overall risk of fatal injury in the United States than any other industry. It has been reported that Hispanics and Latinos specifically have the highest overall fatal injury rate than any other ethnic or racial group in the United States. At least 45% of injuries go unreported, and 50% of the farm workers do not seek medical attention after a work-related injury. So regarding my last clip, you might be asking yourself, why don't they ask for help and why don't they seek medical attention? What's the big problem, right? Well, I can answer this actually really easily. Sadly, it's because their employers take advantage of the fact that they are a small minority group. They know that they have more over them. They hold over their heads that the fact that they do not have legal documentation to live here in the United States legally, and that they could call immigration and ICE at any given moment to have them deported. They also know that this farm job, this agriculture work, might be their only option or their only choice to work in California. So it's either you come to work and you work in the situation that you're in, or you're fired. Now let's focus on the working conditions of our immigrant farm workers in California. Some of the working conditions include heat exhaustion, dealing with harmful pesticides, lack of shade, lack of adequate clean drinking water that should be provided by the employer, especially in the weather conditions that they have to work in, hazardous conditions, and this next bullet point is mainly focusing on the last 4 years. Throughout California, we've had really bad fires, and these agriculture workers have been having to work in thick smoke, and most of the time the employers are not providing N95 masks as they should be. These workers have to show up to work in something as little as a bandana or just a shirt covering their face. Now this moves me on to my next bullet point, which is lack of face coverings, and this goes for both fire season and for COVID-19. There's also not enough breaks given to these workers, and there are nowhere for these workers to take breaks. And most of the time, there are not even restrooms on site. I will now be inserting a clip provided by CBS Bay Area that will show a woman talking about not only working during fire season, but also working during a global pandemic in California in August of last year.
Farm workers continue to stay out working in the fields, but now some of them are starting to speak out about the difficult and dangerous conditions they've been working through. A thick blanket of wildfire smoke gave the lush farm fields of the Salinas Valley an otherworldly appearance. What you can't see is the 100+ degree temperatures that came with the choking smoke, and it's in these conditions that this woman we'll call Antonia has been working in for the past week. She says it's been very hot, there's a lot of dust, they have a hard time breathing, they get headaches and sore throats, but they have to keep working, she says, because if they don't work, how are they going to live? Antonia says her employers only give them water. They do not provide any of the workers with masks, gloves, or other protective equipment, which is a violation of California law.
After watching this video today, I hope I was able to bring you specific examples as to how California immigrants are exploited through the agricultural system. They are people and we need to treat them that way. They are essential and we need to treat them that way. In the next slide, I'm going to provide sources and links as to what you can do to help them today. There are many ways you can help. To just name a few, you can donate, volunteer, or sign petitions at either farmworkerfamily.org or ufw.org. You can also educate yourself on the current campaigns at ufw.org. More importantly, you should call your local agricultural commissioner or your local Congress representative and advocate for farm worker rights and protection of our farm workers. Lastly, I will be providing this slide with my works cited. Thank you all again for watching my public service announcement. I hope you were able to learn a thing.